Good evening, everybody.
Welcome to the District 1 Candidate Forum.
I'm Stan Rubin. I'm chair of the advisory board of the Allapattah YMCA. And Michelle Moyer, who is taking photos, is the director of the Family Center of the YMCA. We have a number. Thank you. We have a number of board members here. Yariel Diaz, who will be doing translating in Spanish for me, since mine is horrible. Thank you. Nothing from the peanut gallery. We have Richard Gibbs, who is vice chair of the advisory board. We have Ralph Duarte, who is on the board. We have Orlando Hidalgo, who's on the board. Marcos Alvarez, and I'm missing somebody? I thought I got everybody. I said Richard. Okay, thank you. So, first thing I want to say is that the Allapattah YMCA is next door. If the gate is open during the day, you could actually walk right across. It comprises a family center and a preschool. If you haven't visited us yet, please come over. We invite you to come see us.
Bienvenidos a este foro de candidatos de Distrito 1. Él se llama Stan Rubin, yo me llamo Yariel Díaz, estoy traduciendo en su parte. Él es el presidente de la Junta Asesora del Allapattah YMCA. Michelle Moyer está allá atrás. Raise your hand, Michelle. Michelle Moyer es la directora ejecutiva del Centro Familiar de Allapattah YMCA. Aquí tenemos otros miembros del board del Allapattah YMCA. Tenemos a Richard Gibbs, a Marcos Álvarez, tenemos Orlando Hidalgo, tenemos a Ralph Duarte, y a esos son todos. Algo que queremos hablar, el Allapattah YMCA está justo al lado de donde estamos localizados. En cualquier día que esté abierto la cerca, uno puede ir caminando desde aquí hasta el Allapattah YMCA.
So if you don't know, the village of Allapattah residents have a median income of only $23,000. As a result, the Family Center and preschool play a critical role in the community. 69% of our Family Center members are on financial assistance or pay no membership fees. Our preschool has 42% of the kids on financial assistance, and our summer camp, which is just finishing up, has 58% of the kids on financial assistance.
Los residentes de Allapattah tienen un ingreso familiar promedio de $23,000. Como resultado, este centro familiar y preescolar juegan un papel crítico en la comunidad. El 69% de los miembros de nuestro centro familiar reciben asistencia financiera o no pagan cuotas de membresía. Nuestro preescolar tiene el 42% de los niños en asistencia financiera y nuestro campamento de verano tiene el 58% de los niños en asistencia financiera.
So this makes the Allapattah YMCA more than a place to exercise. It is a place for youth sports. It is a place for silver sneakers and senior programs. It's a fully accredited preschool. It's an after-school learning center, a healthy lifestyle center, and a summer camp. In summary, the Allapattah YMCA is a community center that's dedicated to bettering the lives of our children, family, and older adults in Allapattah.
Esto hace que el Allapattah YMCA sea más que un lugar para hacer ejercicio. Es un lugar para jugar deportes juveniles, un lugar para silver sneakers y programas para personas mayores, un preescolar totalmente acreditado, un centro de aprendizaje después de la escuela, un centro de estilo de vida saludable y campamento de verano. El Allapattah YMCA es un centro comunitario que se dedica a mejorar la vida de los niños, las familias, adultos mayores y en Allapattah.
So as a community center, the Allapattah Y encourages everyone in the community to participate in the decisions that will shape their lives and their future. A key part of this is the election of our local representatives, such as your District 1 Commissioner. This is very, very important.
Como centro comunitario, el Allapattah Y alienta a todos en la comunidad a participar en las decisiones que darán forma a su futuro. Una parte clave de esto es la elección de nuestros representantes locales, como el comisionado del Distrito 1. Esto es muy importante.
So before I introduce the moderators, I want to say that, just to let people know, the YMCA of South Florida and the Allapattah YMCA are nonpartisan charitable organizations. We do not endorse nor support any candidate, but we do hope that whichever candidate, now listen to this, whichever candidate becomes a District 1 Commissioner will be a strong partner and supporter of the Allapattah YMCA in its role as Allapattah's community center. Should I say it again? No.
El YMCA del sur de la Florida y el Allapattah YMCA son organizaciones caritativas no partidistas. Mientras no respaldamos ni apoyamos a ningún candidato, esperamos que cualquier candidato que se convierta en comisionado del Distrito 1 sea un socio fuerte y un defensor de Allapattah YMCA en su papel como el centro comunitario de Allapattah.
Yeah, that was my only campaigning. So we have two great moderators here this evening for the forum. Joey Flechas, who is to your left, covers government and public affairs for the Miami Herald. He won a Sunshine Award for revealing a Miami Beach political candidate's ties to an illegal campaign donation. I don't know if that's Miami Beach, right? Miami Beach, so it's not here in Miami. So, Dan Croft, who is to the right of Joey, from your view, is an investigative reporter for WTVJ NBC6. He won an Edward R. Murrow Award for his reporting, along with multiple Emmy Awards. Our moderators will introduce the candidates for you. Thank you.
Tenemos dos grandes moderadores para el foro de esta noche. Joey Flechas cubre asuntos gubernamentales y públicos para el Miami Herald. Ganó un premio del Sunshine State por revelar los lazos de un candidato político en Miami Beach con una donación de campaña ilegal. Dan Croft es periodista de investigación de NBC6. Ganó un premio Edward R. Murrow por sus informes juntos con varios premios Emmys. Nuestros moderadores presentarán a los candidatos. Gracias.
Gracias.
And it's great being here. Thank you so much. It's great to sit alongside Joey. I'm used to talking to a camera and not a group of people, so bear with me. We have a lot of candidates tonight, 7 candidates. We'll start from left to right. To the left, we have Horatio Aguirre.
Excuse me.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I need to interrupt. We need to pledge allegiance. Right.
Ariel.
We need to pledge allegiance.
Correct.
This is America. We pledge allegiance in any public forum.
Let's stand and pledge allegiance.
We should. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which we stand, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very nice. Thank you for that. So our 7 candidates from left to right. We have Horacio Aguirre on the left. To his right, Yanni Hidalgo. We have Betty Hermida. We have Alex Diaz de la Portilla. We have Frank Fishell. Sitting to the right of Frank is Miguel Gabela. And then we have Elizar Melendez. So thank you for all 7 candidates for showing up here today.
That's not fair.
Thank you, all of the candidates, for coming. We're going to start so that everybody knows the candidates were afforded an opportunity to submit questions that they would like to be asked, and under the agreement that we made, we would take a look at them and perhaps form a question from them, but not necessarily ask them directly. I will begin by actually asking a question about District 1 code enforcement. Oh, we have opening statements. My apologies. Let's start, since you introduced Horacio first, let's start on the other end of the table with opening statements. My apologies. Go ahead, Elizar.
Good evening. My name is Elizar Melendez. I'm the youngest candidate on the stage, and the only candidate on the stage that has real world experience in the job that a city commissioner actually does. I've been campaigning for 6 months, and I've had about 2,000 conversations in that time with residents of the district. And in those conversations, a lot of people ask me, Elizar, why are you running? Shouldn't you be out there making money, tending your business, traveling the world? And I have a very simple answer to why I'm running. I'm running because of you. I have gotten to know you, the community, over this past time. And I know that you are a community that's resilient. You're a community of immigrants that, like me, came to the city based on a simple promise. The promise that if you work hard and play by the rules, that you'll be treated fairly and kindly. The promise that your children and grandchildren will be able to afford an even better lifestyle than you. Unfortunately, our current political leadership has completely negated that promise. Our streets are filthy. The crime situation is so bad that right now we basically have to live in fear behind gates. And we're not even talking about the issues that are really going to affect us down the line, like sea level rise and climate change. The reality is that we need to restore that promise. We need to restore that promise and get rid of that political leadership that has held us back because they're stuck in the past. My name is Cesar Melendez. I'm here because of you. I'm here to restore the promise. I look forward to answering your questions, and I look forward, with your vote, to humbly serving as City Commissioner. Thank you.
And it wouldn't be a Miami Commission forum without some spilled cafecito up here. So that's what was going on behind the scenes. Next we have Miguel Gabela.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation. I appreciate it. My name is Miguel Gabela. I have lived in this district for over 30 years. My wife and I have been married for 32 years, and we have two daughters, Caroline and Stacy, which we raised in the district. I am a business owner. I am here because I want Alapata to have its fair share. That's why I'm running. There are three basic things that I will address among many as your commissioner. I have knocked on thousands of doors for over the past year, and the number one issue is crime. We need more resources, more policing in our neighborhoods. We need to address the lack of proper maintenance of our streets, sidewalks, lighting. Thirdly, I want more trolleys in our district to better serve our elderly, and those without transportation, and also to reduce traffic. These are just a few among many that are basic services the residents of District 1 deserve. I want our fair share for Alapata, for District 1 as a whole. And by the way, I'm the only person that ran in 2015 and said these same things to a bunch of people that I've knocked on their doors for 8 months, and the only candidate up here that ran against the incumbent when it was hard to do and got 45% of the vote. I'm here because I want to represent you. I've been all my life in the district. I know the district very well, and I hope I can count on your support. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Frank Fishell. Just like Mr. Gavetta, and everything he said is true. Nobody can deny that. That's historical fact. Oh, never mind. I lived in the district in 1967 when I came from Cuba when I was 4.5 years old. I remember flying over here in a Marine Corps amphibious aircraft, a moment which I will never forget because my family left communism from Guantanamo Bay. I went to Alapata, I went to Kelsey Farr, I went to Comstock, I went to Robert E. Lee. Who went to Robert E. Lee? If you went, there you go. If you went to Robert E. Lee, you could kick anybody's butt. Let me tell you something right now. I went to Jackson. I was a police officer for 27 years. I'm retired from the police department. I was on the Code Enforcement Board for 13 years. I was the chairman of the Code Enforcement Board and the Use of the Abatement Board. I was on the staff of Tomas Regalado as the intergovernmental liaison. I've been in public service since I was 18.5 years old. 99.5% of that time with the city of Miami. I know its mechanisms, I know its in and outs, I know its problems, I know its bureaucracy, I know what makes it run and who doesn't make it run. I'm tired of the same bureaucracy that promises you everything and does absolutely nothing. The politicians at B promise you the world and deliver little, if anything at all. A lot of kissing, a lot of handshaking, a lot of backslapping, and then when it comes time to it, they don't even remember your name. You'd be lucky if you get an appointment from them. And even if you supported them in the past, when it comes time for them to support you, they say, no, you know, this and that, whatever excuse there is, they don't keep it. I'm tired of the liars. I'm tired of the backstabbers. This country is in a situation right now where the confidence in politicians has died because of the politicians that don't keep their words. They have no honor. They have no shame. They don't have integrity. Communism is once again growing in our Western Hemisphere. Venezuela, Cuba, let's not even mention Cuba. Even now, Argentina is selecting a socialist president that was ousted and indicted, and now they're electing her again. I don't want to say what's going on. The thing is, my philosophy is, think globally and act locally. We can only change our little part of the world. This is our little part of the world. I've lived here all my life, and I want to make that change. A lifetime of service and dedication to you all. And I'm not going to tell you about the streets or the crime or everything else. We all know what needs to be done. It's about who is the person that's best qualified to do it with the most experience.
A friendly reminder that responses or opening statements should be 1 minute. And we've hit our mark. So please wrap up.
Thank you. I'm done.
Good evening. My name is Alex Diaz de la Portilla. I'm a former state representative for 6 years. I was a state senator for 10 years. I served as the Senate Majority Leader in the Florida Senate. I served as Senate President Pro Tem. I served at the highest levels of the Florida Senate, bringing good things to this community. More importantly, I represented 80% of the district we're in right now, City Commission District 1. 80% was represented by me in the Florida Senate for 10 years. I have actual tangible results, things that I have done, and I'll enumerate them during the course of this debate. I look forward to the conversation. I look forward to the debate, and I have to tell you something, I will defend my record against anyone on this table any day of the week and twice on Sunday. My record is clear, it's tangible, the experience matters. This is not an entry-level job. Miami faces very, very serious problems, and we cannot afford inexperienced people in the City Commission District C. Thank you very much.
Good evening all, my name is Betty Hermida. I'm very sorry, I have laryngitis. I've had it since Saturday, so please bear with me. My opening statement, I will begin in Spanish and I will close in English. Nuestras acciones cargan más peso que nuestras palabras y son el reflejo de nuestras verdaderas intenciones. Nadie debe intentar representar a una comunidad sin primero conocer sus necesidades. En otras palabras, la experiencia es la mejor maestra. Como mujer, madre soltera y residente del Distrito 1 por más de 48 años, comparto sus frustraciones. Esa es la razón por la cual la participación comunitaria ha sido tan importante para mí y por qué ahora he elegido postularme como su próxima comisionada. Hoy en día la comisión de nuestra ciudad sufre un desbalance. No hay representación femenina. Escasos son los servicios para los niños, jóvenes y las personas mayores. Tenemos graves problemas con nuestras calles, aceras y basura. Debemos implementar mejores medidas de seguridad y debemos centrarnos en elevar el criterio de accesibilidad y transparencia en nuestro gobierno municipal. Gracias por estar aquí hoy.
Hi everyone, I'm Johnny Hidalgo. Before I begin to talk about politics and ideas, I would like to share something with you. I came to the United States 16 years ago with nothing. And now I'm here in front of all of you, running for City of Miami Commissioner. Miami, the greatest city in the US. Win or lose, one day I will tell to my grandkids that I have such an honor and privilege to participate in this race. Thanks to Stan, to the panelists, and everyone here. I came here to Alapara as a law student because I couldn't find a place in another neighborhood to afford, just Alapara. While I was living in Miami Stadium apartment, I witnessed the struggle of the people in Alapara. I saw how Alapara is left behind, and not so only Alapara, the whole District 1.
Mr. Hidalgo would like to wrap it up, please.
All right, that's the reason I want to be your next commissioner. So vote Yanni Hidalgo.
Give you a minute.
Your time is an hour.
My name is Horatio Aguirre, and thank you very much for being out here to listen to us. And I must tell you that as I was planning this evening, I was wondering, is this forum really about us, about our pretty faces, or is it really about you? Is it about our community? Is it about our families, our neighborhoods? Is it about fear of gentrification? Is it about fear of businesses that feel they're being driven out of town by a progression from Wynwood? Is it about a lack of code enforcement that sort of seems that if it's in Allapattah, it's excusable, things that you would never see anywhere else? Is it about an abundance of trolleys in Coconut Grove and none in Allapattah or on 7th Street? Is it about a chaos of traffic in Flagami? My friends, this is a very complex society we're living in. Our juniors feel that there's no future in Miami for them, and our seniors feel that the future they waited for and worked so hard to get, they can't afford. Something is wrong. Something is wrong when a bureaucracy at the city of Miami takes longer to approve a permit to remodel a garage than it does to actually do the darn job. Something is wrong when our parks are fenced in because we have a concern about crime. Something is wrong when we have only 1,320 police officers for 3 shifts, 7 days a week, including vacations, and per capita, that is less than Atlanta, New York, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. Something is wrong when our most important dialogues every other Thursday at City Hall is bickering and entertainment between 4 city commissioners that don't seem to get along like adults. My friends, the city of Miami has a budget of $1.3 billion. B as in boy. This is not a small business. This is serious business. It belongs in the hands of professionals that care. Thank you.
And we want to apologize for being the moderator police when it comes to time. It's just that we have 7 candidates. We want to make sure we get to as many of your questions as possible. So please forgive us if we give you a time here on the mic. I also want to encourage each one of you to address the audience in English or Spanish, and you have up to 2 minutes for each response to the questions we're about to ask. Thank you so much.
May I clarify something?
Yes, you may.
The rule says that the person who gets spoken about gets 30 seconds to respond. One of the candidates made a remark about a politician that didn't do their job. I would like for him to say who it is so we can respond to that, because I have no idea who he's speaking about.
I think that,
Okay, we'll give you 30 seconds.
It wasn't you.
well,
I think it was me.
Okay,
It was me?
Yes.
Okay.
please address that in 30 seconds.
Yes, I'm the only one here who is not involved in politics or has no family in politics or who has participated in anything in politics before. The 6th candidate here has experience in public service in any area. So I guess it's for all of you.
Roll.
Okay, thank you so much, and that's another point too that each candidate we need you to talk directly into the microphone, otherwise the audience won't be able to hear you. We're going to ask our first question.
Then I guess all of us have 30 seconds to respond to his remark. Because he's accusing, he just said he's accusing all of us.
No, sir.
He said he's accusing all of us.
We're going to begin the questions now. We're going to begin our questions now. Okay, so
This looks like a City of Miami Commission meeting already. Let's have a decorum and respect for the audience. We're here to talk to them and speak to them about our ideas. Let's respect them, please.
Sir, okay, so we are going to begin, and as I was mentioned before, the candidates were afforded an opportunity to submit questions and ideas that they wanted to speak on. We agreed to take the liberty to look at these and format them in whichever way we felt appropriate for this debate. We're going to start with this set of questions. The first question is going to be directed to Mr. Melendez, and I'd like any other candidate after him to talk about it because you all mentioned it. Code enforcement, District 1, many residents have complained about code enforcement, yet code enforcement has been a touchy issue in the city of Miami. They have renamed the department to code compliance, but lately, in the past several months, there has been increased enforcement, and there's even been enforcement that can be considered focused on some properties in the District 3. So, my question for you, Mr. Melendez, what do you plan to do about code enforcement in District 1? And I'd please like any other candidates to follow up after.
Thank you, Joey. It's a fallacy that I hear at the doors that neighbors are scared of code enforcement. They say, we know that the community is not getting taken care of, that the people that throw debris are not getting cited, that the sidewalks that are being broken in front of properties are not getting fixed. But we're afraid to call code enforcement because we feel that maybe because my tree's a little big, that they'll find me and that they'll just go after the entire neighborhood. That I know that neighbor over there has an efficiency and they're gonna go after them. Look, that is a fallacy that's been created over the years to benefit a very specific type of person. And that is the people that come into this community and are not for here and invest and are essentially absentee landlords. When I've been walking, it's incredible, especially in Alapata, how many blocks have 1, 2, 3 lots that are empty, that are full of trash, that are a breeding ground for rats and crime, and no one does anything about it. Right now, on 15th Street Road and 15th Avenue, a few blocks away from what should be the glowing glory of this district in the health district, there's a lot. It's owned by an investor. It used to be owned by another investor, and if you look at Google Map pictures of the lot, as I've done in research for this, you see that it's been there for years with mounds of trash, with live FPL wires on the ground, with kudzu growing everywhere. And yet, they got cited once, and when it went to the Code Enforcement Board, of which there's 2 members on this table that are, 2 people on this table that have been members of, they got off of the fine that they had of $225. The system is broken because we don't actually want to enforce it against the people that we need to enforce it again. Code enforcement is a flexible tool. We can go after the people that are abusing our community without affecting the people that live here, and that's what I'm going to do as a commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other candidates who want to address the issue of code enforcement, Mr. Cabal?
Yeah, I've been knocking on doors since July of last year, a year and 2 months ago, a lot longer than you, Richard. And I see both things happening. I see that, for example, on 24th Avenue, Northwest 9th Street, there's a code enforcement lady that has gone amok in the respect that there are 4 or 5 neighbors and she's terrorizing the neighborhood. One was for taking trash out 1 day earlier than she was supposed to for the bulk trash. She got cited $500. She went to negotiate to the Code Enforcement Board and was dropped down to $250. She shouldn't have paid anything. There's another guy that has a trailer. He had it at the tag. He put the tag back on, and he was still cited. So you have the 2 extremes. Yes, code enforcement needs to be vigilant, but you also have to work. There should be a warning first. You're not out. If you're going out to generate revenues for the city, I put a stop to that. I'm not in agreement with that. And your job, as a code enforcement officer, if you're going to handle businesses, is to, of course they have to be regulated, right? And of course they have to do things, but not to the point where you make the business owner, think whether he should be here or not. So there's both extremes, and I would look to correct that, and making sure that there's a balance that people are not abused, but things are also regulated, and the trash is picked up, and the services are given. And that's what I would tell you people. And believe me, I have experience because I've been walking the district since July of last year, folks, every day, year and 2 months. So I can tell you that from experience, and that's my take on it. Thank you.
I have more experience in the code enforcement board than anyone in this room. 13 years on that board as chairman also. This is what happens when people like the opponent here doesn't know what he's talking about. The code enforcement minimum fine is $3,750. That's the minimum fine, and I'm gonna talk about Mr. Cabela.
No, let me tell you something. That's not going to work. Listen, you guys need down there. You need to stop this thing. You need to ask the questions. No, because it can't go backwards and forwards. I stuck to the rule when I started this thing. I stuck to my thing. I got to the minute. I practiced, and that's what I did. Okay.
I understand.
Number one, he's not out there for a year and 2 months like I am. He didn't run in 20. Yes, you were.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
No, I said to the opponent next to you, now Mr. Cabela. See, you gotta listen. You gotta pay attention sometimes. Okay, this is what happens when we have unexperienced people that don't know about code enforcement. The minimum fine is $3,750. And the reason why the minimum fine is that is because that is what it costs the city of Miami's taxpayers to prosecute any code enforcement violation. Now, during the time that I was on that code enforcement board, I reduced and also zeroed out thousands of code enforcement fines and violations. You know why? Because the code enforcement board is the balance between the abusers and the abusive government. Because the city of Miami, for a long time, has used, and sometimes still is using, the code enforcement board as a tool for political vengeance and to make money. I remember when I started in the code enforcement board, the city of Miami was raking in over $1 million a year in fines. And hush, we didn't tell you this was, hey, maximize it, this and that. I said, and when I got there, I said, this is not going to happen on my watch. It's not going to happen on my watch. And I started reducing fines because I know that there is abuses. But it goes further than that. Because I've done my investigation, because all my life I've been an investigator. And the problem is that some of the city officials that work in the net offices or in the net area use the code enforcement to castigate people that they don't like or that are not in their favor or do not speak highly about them.
Okay, sir, that's
and I'm
fine.
doing that investigation, and that's the reason why before you start talking about code enforcement, you got to understand the mechanics of it. And I apologize to Mr. Cabela. I was not referring to you, sir, and I hope you accept my mistake.
Thank you. You were directing your comments to Mr. Melendez. Melendez, you have 30 seconds to respond.
Absolutely, thank you, Joey. It's very clear that the person doesn't know what he's talking about here is Mr. Fishell. First off, I have the documents to prove it. I have them in my iPad. I will gladly circulate them. There was a $225 fine, which they released. It's there. It's in black and white. If he doesn't know how to read, that's not my problem. Secondly, I worked as a chief of staff for District 2, a district which does not have, excuse me, I'm talking. A district which does not have this code enforcement issues at this level that they have in District 1. A district where things are taken care of, where they're nice, clean, orderly. Guess what? It's because they had people working at the commissioner's office level that were on top of things constantly. That's what I'm going to bring to this district as commissioner. That's what we can do together as a community. That's what we can do when we do things calmly and civilly and move forward and work together. Thank you.
Since he accused me of
Sir,
not
we're going to move on.
I think I have to say that not only do I know how to read,
Mr. Fishell, we're going to move on, Mr. Fishell. Sir, we're going to move on, sir. Mr. Diaz-La Portilla and any of the remaining candidates, I know code enforcement and trash was an issue for everyone. I wanted to give everybody a chance to say something. No? Anybody else? We'll move on to the next question. So, development. The issue of special area plans and large acreage developments in the city of Miami has affected other districts, and it has affected this district as well. I wanted to pose the question on this end of the table to Mr. Aguirre, your opinion on large acre developments and gentrification, and what your stance is on special area plans as they have been implemented in the city of Miami.
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Joey. I wasn't thinking you were going to go that deep. It's a technicality that's part of Miami 21, the current zoning that was implemented just before Mayor Diaz retired. The special area plan was something that was unique to Miami 21. Along with my other friends, when I was president of Miami Neighborhoods United, we advised the city on the special area plan. And we also advised the city that going into an SAP that would provide 10 acres or more of mega developments had huge risks that were not being foreseen and planned for at the time. At no time back when Miami 21 was being designed and written was a special area plan that included 15 or 20 or 40 acres contemplated. I think that the special area plan concept needs to be frozen, reviewed, studied, and rewritten, because in effect, what we're doing today is we're creating governments within governments and cities within a city, and that's not what we intended when we originally drafted Miami 21.
Ms. Hermida, I wanted to, and thank you for coming again. I understand as a commissioner your voice is then. I wanted to pose the question to you about the development that could fall to the candidate who gets elected for District 1, the future of Mel Reese Golf Course, which could be Miami Freedom Park.
Right.
This is an issue that could be voted upon in September. It could not, and it could end up being something that is a deciding vote for the District 1 Commissioner in the City of Miami. So, I wanted to ask you what your stance is on the outlined proposal, as we know it, for Miami Freedom Park, which would replace Mel Reese Golf Course with a stadium commercial development in 58 acres.
I've reviewed specifically the traffic study. I have many concerns about that study. One is the parking situation. The stadium holds 25,000 seats with only 5,500 parking spaces. Now, is that inclusionary of employees and the hotel? The traffic study states that on a weekend game, it should hold about 54, they expect 5,400 cars to park there. Again, if we're including employees parking, if we're including people staying at the hotel, how does that impact the direct community then? Will there be a spillover of parking at people's homes? That's an invasion of privacy. There's also a study on the traffic calming devices. Out of 20, only 10 will receive devices. That could be anything from stop signs to speed bumps. So I'm very concerned as it is. I have many questions. I also have questions about the west end of the park. For instance, 45th Avenue and 9th Street. We have an elderly apartment complex there. Right now, there are no sidewalks for them to travel. So they walk on the street. It's a very busy avenue as it is. How will increased traffic impact and continue to put them at greater risk than they are right now? The stadium itself, I've canvassed the area. Usually 2 out of every 10 of the residents agree. They agree with the project, so I would like more information.
Thank you. I wanted to open that up. Yes, Mr. Gabel, I know it's a big project, so.
With your permission, yeah. What my stance is, and I want to be clear about this, that, I want a good deal, I don't want a bad deal. And what we have there clearly now is a bad deal. You know why? Because for years and years, nobody knew really what was going on there. Okay, you got a golf course, not a park. If you go to the golf course, you're going there to play golf. You have to pay $65, I understand, or $75. You can't take your son or daughter there because it's not a park. You're going to be hit with a ball. So the park issue is really a non-issue. It's not a park. Now, you have an entity there that's been losing money for the exception of 1 or 2 years without the residency, without the taxpayer, without anybody really knowing about it because it was very well hidden. So supposedly they lost money for a lot of years, but yet they had a payroll that was substantial, I understand. Some people got paid very good money, but yet they managed to lose money. You, the taxpayers, everybody else in this room paid for that, okay? Now the cat is out of the bag, and we know what's going on there. So you know what? I'm for anything that's better than that, okay? I'm for it. We're not going to get, from what I'm looking at this, the way this is presenting itself is that we're not going to get to vote on this. Okay, but I'll tell you one thing. From my standpoint, we got a bad deal right now. We need a better deal. Okay, and whatever happens before November, if it's voted up or down, if it is voted up, I can tell you that I'm always going to be on your side on what you guys want, the taxpayer, the residents of District 1, because you're going to be mostly affected. We are. Okay, and at the end of the day, I'm going to hold, if it gets done, I'm going to hold their feet to the fire to make sure that it gets done. If it does get done the way they said it's going to get done. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Okay,
I didn't get up on this stage and I didn't get into politics to say all the things that I couldn't do and can't be done and things that are bad and shouldn't happen. All I hear is this is bad, that couldn't happen, that couldn't happen. I got here to show a vision of what the future could be, to show something that we could do for our community that could make our community better. This is a huge piece of property and it could be used to be something great. It really could. There are parameters. This cannot be a deal that is a giveaway to billionaires. We all agree with that. We have to stand firm. I don't think any of my opponents here would disagree with that. But more importantly, there's so much that we can accomplish with this deal. This deal could be the model for a living wage provision that affects every other public deal in the county. Right now, there's people protesting at the airport because there's thousands of jobs there that in their government property are not taken care of to have a living wage. And there's no model that we could say, look, you can do that like they're doing over here in Mel Reese. This could be that project. This project could be something that adds to our community in terms of actually adding value. There used to be a library in what is now the golf course area that could come back. You could have a community benefit that is added to that. Yes, there's concerns. Of course there's concerns. There's always concerns. But I want to go over the concerns, fix them, and then actually work on making this a great deal. And that's what we should be focused on.
Yes, sir, I did. This came before the City Commission in July of last year. I was number 2 in line to speak on the item, Joey. And I explained very clearly that it was a very awkward situation for me. My dad was a close friend of the late Jorge Macanosa, an extraordinary civic leader in this community. And I also said that, make no mistake, gentlemen, this is not about sports. This is not about soccer. This is about commercial real estate, no more, no less. That soccer stadium will occupy about 15% of the totality of the project. The other 85% will be commercial real estate development. Call it what it is. If that's what they want, name it accordingly, but don't deceive you. Don't tell you it's a soccer park when in reality it's not. It's something a lot bigger than Dadeland Mall today.
Thank you.
I'd like to respond, please.
Yes, Mr. Scott.
I just got to tell you one, bring back your memories to the Miami Marlins Stadium. Because I was at City Hall when that backdoor deal was being done, and I saw and heard and knew exactly what happened. And I went to the state attorney's office and I told them exactly who's going to get paid what and how much. They laughed at me. They gave away the Orange Bowl property to the Miami Marlins because they said, we have no money. And a bunch of people bought up all the houses and duplexes in that area because 2 years or 3 years before that, they knew it was a done deal. And they made a fortune. And one of those jerks was the City of Miami deputy police chief who made a fortune because he owned like 5 duplexes there that he had been tipped off 3 years before that this deal was going to go through. This is exactly what's going to happen at Mel Reese Golf Course. They are going to go and buy up all the houses around there and pay these people all this money, and then they're going to sell it to the developers for a fortune, and they're going to get rich because this is Miami. This is the way these crooked politicians do their deals. I'm tired of it. This is not a lie. You see it in the papers every single day. A $2 billion soccer player, and I don't understand that. Why is a ball kicker a billionaire when we have people like Mr. Alvin here, who is a Marine Corps veteran, who served his country, killed people for his country, and he's living in a low-income housing, and they treat him like hell. So if 2 billionaires want to buy our land, give us $200 million and buy it. We don't give our stuff away. They just gave away MRC. $200 million waterfront property for $3 million a year. That's insane. This is our property, our land. It doesn't belong to the politician. It doesn't belong to the commission. It doesn't belong to that punk mayor that we have. Yeah, I said punk mayor that we have. It belongs to us.
I guess all of us are agreed that we did a bad deal allowing, this soccer stadium, supposedly soccer stadium, on Maurice Park. I live basically 5 blocks from the park, and as all of you have said, one of the biggest concern of my neighbors is traffic. We know that we did a bad deal, but traffic is important, and I know that we are here to explain our platform, our policies, what we want to do as a commissioners. And I hear nothing about that. What I hear is critics, blaming others. So the big issue here for us who live across or next to the park is traffic. And in my platform, we think that we need to address traffic. And the major problem in our districts is Dolphin Expressway, the tolls. Why? Because people now are not taking the Dolphin Expressway. People are driving around in our neighborhood, increasing traffic, and nobody's talking about that. I know it's a hard issue. I know that everybody's talking about that in the city, in the county, but us as a commissioner, we need to address that issue. Until then, how are you going to solve the issue of traffic if you got a stadium with 25,000 seats next to a neighborhood like Redland? So we need to fix that before, and then explain them that we need to do it. With policy, we need to do something. We need to get rid of the tolls. The governor recently got rid of the MDX, but now another agency is taking place of the MDX. And what happened with the toll?
5 seconds.
They're still there. As a commissioner, I will gear up, I will erase, I will terminate, I will vacate everything related to this agency in charge of the tolls.
I agree with Mr. Davila. Look, how we got here is suspect. I think all of us here at this table question the methodology of how we got here, the debate or the lack of debate. Some people believe it was rammed through too quickly for the public to really understand the magnitude of this development. But we are where we are. We're legally bound to negotiate a contract with this particular developer. We can't walk away from that. And what we have to do is we have to be good stewards of the city's money, of the taxpayers' money. We have to negotiate the best possible deal that we can as a city commission. We have to fight for a much higher rent than they're requesting right now, is at $3.4 million. It should be, some extras have told me, as much as $9 million a year. We have to make sure that the environmental cleanup, which they're estimating to be about $37 million, is in fact $37 million, and if it's more, that the developer has to pay for it. We have to have a community benefits package for the residents of Grapeland Heights who are directly impacted by this development, similar to what they did at Magic City Innovation. It was a $40 million community benefits package. We need, I don't know the amount, but we need to have a community benefits package, and we need to close down some roads, provide landscaping, fix streets, sidewalks, more lighting, more police protection for that neighborhood. They need it. They deserve our protection. We're their commissioner and we're their voice. But we cannot walk away from a legal obligation that we have now to negotiate a deal with this developer. I will negotiate based on my experience, on my knowledge of the issues, on my 16 years in Tallahassee dealing with big, bold projects. I have the ability and the experience and the knowledge to negotiate a deal that's good for the city taxpayers. I've done it before on bigger deals than this throughout the state of Florida. I've negotiated big deals as the majority leader of the Florida Senate, and I will do it as your commissioner. We cannot have people that are not focused on the city residents, that are not fighting for the city residents. Right now, September 12th, your city commissioner will make that decision. Will make that decision. If he doesn't negotiate a good deal, I will.
According to the current commissioner, one of the biggest problems facing this district is affordable housing. Housing costs continue to rise while wages stay the same, if not get lower. I'll direct this question to candidate Armida. What would you do to bring more affordable housing to the people of District 1?
For starters, inclusionary zoning. I feel all of our SAPs lack, whereas the bar is too low when it comes to community benefits, and that has to be raised for us to include that inclusionary zoning. In Alapata, we actually formed a coalition trying to seek benefits under Miami Produce Center SAP. We have to do better at negotiating our community benefits. One other thing I have in mind would be affordable housing purchases, using the underutilized land that the city has and putting out some homes that people can actually afford. That way they have predictability as far as what they're paying in the future. It kind of freezes that, that increased rent every month. Right now, our affordable housing, our subsidized housing, isn't really working. Every year, they're being raised $100 and $200 per year. So affordable housing is no longer affordable.
Thank you. You want